Coming up on today's show, we've got some injury news and updates regarding Jeff Okudah. Plus, I'm sure you saw on Monday Night Football last night, Nick Chubb went down and is gone for the rest of the season. The Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski spoke to the media today and said all options are on the table. And I wonder if Atlanta would get a phone call from Cleveland regarding Cordarrelle Patterson or even Tyler Allgeier. So we'll break that down. But if you are fired up about the Falcons being 2-0, type ATL down in the comment section. It's going to be a bloodbath in the NFC South this year. I know everyone, and somewhat myself included, wrote off this division of only being a one playoff team division. My new hot take is there are going to be two NFC playoff teams from the NFC South. It's going to be Tampa, New Orleans, and or Atlanta, and I'm hoping the Falcons are one of those teams. Now, let's get into some injury updates regarding Jeff Okudah, who missed the first 2 games of the year, but will he return to face his former team, Detroit? Well, Atlanta needs him this week. The Lions have a sneaky good air raid offense. I know it doesn't look like they have much beyond Amon-Ra St. Brown, but Josh Reynolds has been tearing it up for them, 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sam Laporta's got over 100 yards, and Khalif Raymond has 66 yards and a touchdown. So as Jeff Okudah, who was limited last week in practice and hopefully will continue to trend in the right direction this week, the Falcons need all hands on deck for a air raid offense manned by, Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who Terrell's going to be busy with him, but Jeff Okudah, D. Alford, Mike Hughes, Trey Flowers, they're going to need everyone to bring their A game against the Lions, who are going to be a little bit shorthanded. David Montgomery appears to be out, so my suspicion is Dan Campbell will be leaning to the pass. If Atlanta thought Jeff Okudah was going to miss 3 games or 4 games or more, I think they would have placed him on short-term IR to start the year, right? If you put him on short-term IR to start the year, he's out the first 4 weeks, but you do open up a roster spot. If you thought he was going to miss 3, 4 games, but at least 3, don't you think you would have done that in the first place to save yourself an extra roster spot? The fact that they did not signals to me they thought it would be a 1-2 week max injury, which would have him back for week 3 against the Lions. So Okudah, needless to say, would be fired up to play in this game. If there is a time for Jeff Okudah to play his best ball, it would be against the team that moved on from him, that gave up on him. And hey, I don't know if there's hard feelings going both ways, but it's got to sting getting traded away, and then you get an opportunity to play against that team that more or less punted on you. You got to envision that's a lot of bulletin board material and a lot of motivation for Okudah to come in and go, this is the guy you traded away. You didn't want me. Now I'm going to take away some of your best offensive playmakers, and we'll see how you like it. But predict it for me. Do you think in your heart of hearts that Jeff Okudah will play against the Lions this upcoming Sunday? Type P for play, type W for won't. I want to get your honest opinion in the comment section. Moving on to a whole different topic. And it's not a topic that I like talking about, but it is a reality of the moment. And that is the Cleveland Browns are without Nick Chubb for the rest of the season. They are all in on this year, and they are a pretty aggressive team. They've made a lot of trades. Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Zadarius Smith. Who's to say they would not make another trade for, say, Tyler Allgeier or Cordarrelle Patterson? This is not me trying to sell Tyler Allgeier or Cordarrelle Patterson, but if a team needs a running back, you better believe Atlanta is a team that would get a phone call, because Bijan Robinson has taken the league by storm after 2 games, and maybe that makes Tyler Allgeier or Cordarrelle Patterson available, right, or expendable, because Bijan Robinson looks like a guy who can do everything by himself. Now, Atlanta wants to be a run the football down your throat type of ball club. And it's good to have some security behind Bijan, but also to keep Bijan fresh, to throw different looks at them, and to casually have a 1,000-yard rusher as your RB2 is a luxury that not many teams have, and I'm sure Atlanta enjoys having that luxury. So, by no means do I think the Falcons are looking to trade Allgeier, but if they get an offer they can't refuse because the Browns are a bit desperate with Nick Chubb gone for the year, and they make a ridiculous offer for Tyler Allgeier, who is their RB2, I'm sure Terry Fontenot would give it some consideration, or Cordarrelle Patterson, their joker, not even an RB3, a joker. Now, if a trade does go down, you know that we are going to cover it. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. And if you joined the channel during our Packers watch party, which was fucking awesome, by the way, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you hanging out with us here, and stay subscribed all season long. Now, let's kind of get into the weeds for this year. If the Falcons were open to trading a running back, right? If the Browns called and said, what's going on, Terry? We need a running back. You have 3. We know RB1's off the table, of course, but what would it take to get Allgeier or Patterson? Well, I think the first question is Atlanta would ask, which one do we want to trade, right? Which one is on the market if this is a possibility? Tyler Allgeier last year, 1,000-yard rusher, a rookie rushing record for Atlanta, 3 touchdowns. So far, he has 6 through his entire NFL career. I think Atlanta values Allgeier a lot as a change of pace back for Bijan Robinson. Allgeier's not a phenomenal receiving back, but he can bang it between the tackles. He can be a good goal line back. He can save Bijan some of those early down touches if they don't want to run Bijan into the ground too much. I mean, the Falcons so far this season are averaging 170 yards on the ground, which shockingly enough is only 4th best in the league. Shout out to Christian McCaffrey. He's doing it all in San Francisco. But I do believe, pound for pound, RB1 and RB2 duos across the entire NFL, Bijan and Tyler Allgeier is the best duo, right? Is Bijan the best running back in the NFL at this moment? Probably goes to Christian McCaffrey, but I'll take the top 2 running backs in Atlanta over any other pair or tandem across the entire NFL. Now, before I give you my final thoughts on Allgeier and Patterson being on the market potentially, make sure you get yourself started with BetUS. That's our sportsbook partner here. Go to chatsports.com chatsports.com/betfalcons and use promo code Falcons125. One more time, but in coherent English. Chatsports.com/betfalcons. Promo code Falcons125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. The Falcons are currently 3.5-point dogs in Detroit next week, and I kind of like Atlanta. I don't know if they're going to outright win, but I like the Falcons keeping it close at least. So give me the Falcons plus 3.5 against the Lions this upcoming Sunday. When it comes to Atlanta potentially dealing one of these 2 guys, I think it's, pretty Captain Obvious here to say Cordarrelle Patterson would be more likely to get dealt. If Atlanta had to pick one guy to move on from, it's going to be the older running back, Cordarrelle Patterson, who last year, 695 rushing yards, 122 receiving yards, but an incredible red zone threat, 8 total touchdowns. So far in Atlanta, he basically averages a touchdown a game. Ultimately, I don't think the Falcons trade a running back. They're 2-0. It's pretty bold for Terry Fontenot to go into this locker room and go, I know you guys are off to a perfect start. I know this team has playoff aspirations after back-to-back 7-win seasons under Arthur Smith. But if you don't mind, I'm going to tinker with this roster, and I'm going to move on from Tyler Allgeier, or a huge leader and cultural part of this locker room, Cordarrelle Patterson. I would move on from CP84 before Allgeier, just because I value the direction Allgeier has on this roster compared to, Patterson entering the last year of his contract. But if you guys had to choose a running back to go, who would it be? Now, I will add, you could get more for Tyler Allgeier. If the Browns call and say, we'll give you a 4th-round pick for your RB2, that's an offer you don't get every day. You do not get 4th-round picks for a lot of starting running backs right now. To get that for your backup running back, that might be too good to pass on, but at the moment, as a prisoner of the moment, Atlanta's doing a lot of good things. I just don't really want to see, from a Falcons standpoint, I'm sure they're not interested in messing with the mojo. And the mojo is an undefeated start. Maybe they'll look back and go, we should have gotten something for Allgeier. The season wasn't going to go where we wanted it to go, but they're not at that point right now. Right now, they're 2-0. So I don't think Atlanta is going to be interested in messing with the feng shui of this room and of this locker room, and potentially, having the season go sideways because they decided, hey, let's look ahead here, even though we are undefeated, and let's get something for Allgeier or Patterson. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Producer Rolly and I appreciate all the new subscribers we have picked up here on the channel. So if you have not subscribed, consider going ahead and doing so.